Hi guys, this is Squishy Bee, and I wanted to share an article with you that I came across just a few minutes ago, and I thought it might be good to read it together. It looks really kind of intriguing. It's titled Black Alert, Coronavirus Found on Air Pollution Particles Prompting Fears Bug Can Travel Over Long Distances. So let's take a look here. Scientists in Italy have detected coronavirus particles of air pollution and are now investigating whether the virus can be carried over longer distances and increase the number of people infected. The Italian scientists identified a gene highly specific to COVID-19 in multiple outdoor air pollution samples they had collected. Here's a picture that they show that says a thick fog covers the city of Milan in Italy. I never really thought of Italy being an area that's highly polluted. I just kind of pictured India and some places in Asia as being like some of the worst polluted places, but I never really pictured Italy. It's not like a lot of industry and high rises and crazy traffic like I would picture in other areas, so that's a surprise to me. This picture shows a truck sanitizes the streets of North Italy. Look at this fog that they're just spraying. Man, I saw this in China too, and I was concerned for them as well. I can't really picture this being good for you to breathe in massive amounts of this disinfectant stuff. I mean, the virus is bad, but sometimes the cure is worse than the disease, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, the capital city of Rome could be at risk with such high levels of pollution. Rome? Really? Man, I just can't picture this at all. This is new to me. I don't know about you guys, but this is not what I've never been to Italy, so I can't really say, but just from my knowledge of Italy, it's not really what I would imagine. I just have never heard of this being a place of massive pollution. Odd to me. Anyway, the study conducted at the University of Bologna in Italy used outdoor air pollution samples from one urban and one industrial site in the Bergamo province. It was in those samples that they found the gene specific to the deadly virus. According to The Guardian, the work is preliminary and is not yet known if the virus remains viable on pollution particles and in sufficient quantity to cause disease. So we shouldn't get worried about this. We shouldn't worry about things anyway if you're a Christian, because God takes care of all these things. But I still like to stay on top of things, and this is the first I've heard of this, and I will be watching to see if they come up with any more studies that confirm this. So, let's see, where did I leave off here? Leonardo Setti, who led the work, said it was important to investigate if the virus could be carried more widely by air pollution. He said, "I am a scientist, and I am worried when I don't know. If we know, we can find a solution. But if we don't know, we can only suffer the consequences." Makes sense to me. Part of Mr. Setti's analysis suggests that higher levels of pollution could explain higher rates of infection in parts of northern Italy before the lockdown was implemented. I mean, is it possible that people are just breathing in all this pollution and therefore their lungs aren't really the most quality lungs? You know what I mean? Kind of like a smoker is going to have less of a chance of surviving the virus than someone who isn't a smoker. I mean, those are kinds of things I would imagine they would have to add in as controls for their study, because I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but to me that just seems like something that would contribute to these higher rates of infection. I mean, at least, I don't know, they're saying that higher rates of infection could be just because they tested only the people that had obvious symptoms of the virus, right? they weren't really testing as many people that were asymptomatic. So if you think about it, if they're only testing people that are showing, lung symptoms and stuff, then if the people that are breathing in a lot more of this pollution would be more likely to get those symptoms because they're going to quickly deteriorate because they don't have strong lungs to be able to fight off this virus because they've been breathing in garbage for so long, versus someone who's living out in the country away from all this pollution who might stand a fighting chance, if they get the virus. So anyway, just food for thought. The north of Italy is one of the most polluted areas in Europe. In Europe? Really? Like, Italy is the most polluted area? This is just mind-boggling to me. I have never heard of this. I don't know. I guess that would be because I've never been to Europe. But I just feel like, just from what I've seen in, news and the picture of Italy in various media and shows and, travel documentaries and such, because I have looked into going there. I've just never seen anything that would give me that, interpretation that it would be high levels of pollution there. I would be like, air pollution, I would think India. That's what I would think. India or China. But that's just me. Anyway, maybe that makes me a racist. I don't know. Is that racist? I don't know. It's just, I don't mean to assume pollution, but I mean, how many people have seen just stuff about pollution in India alone? I mean, that's one of the prime areas that it's a serious problem there, a really serious problem. They have a lot of added health issues just from pollution alone there. And areas of China also, because really people were wearing masks long before any of these crises came along with the viruses due to pollution. They were wearing masks just for the pollution. Because I remember I used to run an anime and gaming convention before I was a Christian, and I remember when I was looking at vendors and stuff that there were a lot of these really cool masks that were themed from everything you could think of in anime and kawaii and Hello Kitty and stuff like that, I remember thinking, why all these people have such elaborate masks? And it was because of pollution, and then, of course, then you had the added SARS and stuff. So these people have been dealing with stuff for a while. So it really makes sense that they would be more susceptible to this big virus when it comes along, because maybe their lungs have been battling stuff for a while. So anyways, previous studies have shown that air pollution particles carry microbes, and that pollution is likely to have carried viruses, causes bird flu or foot and mouth disease over distances. Researchers say that airborne transmission of the virus through pollution particles must not be ruled out without evidence. Professor Jonathan Reid at Bristol University in the UK is researching airborne transmission of the virus. About the study, he said, "It is perhaps not surprising that while suspended in air, the small droplets could combine with background urban particles and be carried around." Ew. That's just a gross thought, that the stuff is like thick in the air and so stuff is like binding to it. Ugh. Anyway, as it is, I'm so easily grossed out, but that's just one more thing on my grossed out list. He told The Guardian that the virus had been detected in tiny droplets collected indoors in China. Professor John Shidou, something like that. Professor John Shidou at University College Cork. I'm sorry, sir, for disrespecting the pronunciation of your name. I did my best effort as someone who is recovering from a stroke. I apologize. In the Republic of Ireland, said, the work seems plausible, but that is the bottom line at the moment. And plausible, particle in parentheses, interactions are not always biologically viable and may have no effect in the atmosphere. I guess they're just kind of trying to figure this out still. Professor Sudeux said that the normal course of this research might take 2 or 3 years to confirm. 2 or 3 years? Man, that's a long time to be wondering if this is spreading in the air over long distances, don't you think? 2 to 3 years? Come on. Can we just pick up the pace a little bit? Italy still remains the third most affected country in the world from coronavirus. So far, the number of cases stands at 192,994, with over 25,000 of those resulting in death. My goodness. I have lost track of what's been going on in Italy. I didn't know that there was that many people that had died and that that had contracted this at this point. I feel bad. I do pray for these guys all the time, but I really lost track because of what's going on here in New York, where I live, has gotten overwhelming. So I was kind of paying attention to those numbers and lost track of Italy. But it says the number of new daily cases continues to fall as the country enters its 4th month dealing with the pandemic. So that's good. Looks like they're on their way down, which is good. It says Italy's most visited city, Venice, could also face risks with its high level of pollution. Come on, seriously, Venice? Venice? I mean, what is there to pollute stuff in Venice? I mean, it's not like this big industrial area. I mean, they don't even drive cars. They're mostly driving around boats, right? It's mostly all water in these fancy boats. I don't understand. What is to cause the pollution there? I must be missing something. I'm going to have to, just out of curiosity, I'm going to have to look that up and find out what is causing this pollution there, because this is complete news to me. This picture shows coronavirus deaths each day. Deaths in Italy and Spain are falling now. The lockdowns have cut the number of new cases. I would imagine you shut people in their homes and nobody is able to go out and be near each other, then it is going to cut down on them breathing on each other. But something in my mind also tells me that, they also just really don't want us talking to each other. They don't want people getting together. People get together and talk and, try to plan and plot and try to fight back against the powers that be. And they don't want that. And they also, I think, want us in our houses so that when we get raptured, that nobody sees. So they can just kind of blame it on the deaths of the virus. But we'll see. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting, and I felt it was worth reading, and I thought I'd take you along with me. So I will keep an eye on this and see if I see anything else about this, but it looks like it could be a while, 2 to 3 years, before they get this thing figured out. But they did say also it would be 18 months before they have a vaccine, and clearly that was a lie, being that they're saying that they've all been vaccinated there at the media.
You can take out the mask, Doug. The case fatality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC.
Is it really? That's reassuring.
USC.
Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway.
USC and LA County Public Health come up with a study. They found that there are 7,000 cases in California, but they really believe that there are anywhere from 221,000 to 442,000 people who were infected.
Really?
Yeah.
So that makes